right, so today's gonna be a fun topic. We're talking about when you should drop your prices on your eBay listings that are not selling.
So this came up actually in our group. We did a live in our group the other day, and we were talking to them, and that was a big question that people had was on pricing. So they said, at what point, like how long do you let a listing sit before you start dropping the price? And we have some pretty different points of view on pricing, so we just wanted to share with you kind of our thought process in the way we do our business model.
Absolutely. So if you don't know, if you're new to the show, we actually buy, or I should say sell, high profit items. So we're getting items as cheap as we can in the local market, but we're selling them for lots and lots of money. That's
typically about $1,000 to $2,000 is our average sale that we're looking for. We used to do several, and we'll do smaller items too, but right now, like we're at the point where we pretty much are looking for at least $1,000 for a sale.
Yeah, and if you guys remember, kind of like talking about one of the last episodes we did about the dolls, didn't we?
Oh yeah.
That is not our normal thing to sell items that we might sell for $30 or $40, but when you lump 100 of those together, and you can sell them for $4,000 to $5,000. That is.
I don't think it's gonna be that much, but we'll see.
I absolutely do. We will list those for $499.99. $499.99. Anyways, $5,000. Let's just put it that way. And we will take an offer. We'll see if we can get anybody interested, and then we'll lower it. But at the same time, that's really what we're going for. So those are the items that we're looking for. The stamps that we sold, we paid $300 for them, sold them for $3,500. So we're really looking for these items in the local market that we can buy. And $300, $500, that's a lot of money to spend in the local market on a single item. We don't typically like to go that high, but we do like to spend between $50 and $100 to be able to make $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. So that is what our normal model is. Let's jump back into the topic now that you guys all on board of how we kind of do our business. For us, when you're looking at items that are on eBay and not selling, most resellers that are doing volume, they might have a system that they're like, all right, well, at a 10-day mark,
a coupon or a sale or something like that.
10-day mark, we're going to do this. 20-day mark, we're going to do this. At a 30-day mark, we're going to do this. We typically price our items at the right price the first time, and it's a unique item, so it will take a little bit of time. Sometimes, not always.
Sometimes they're 24 hours, but it could take a little bit longer, but that's not the first thing that you should do. There's a lot of other things you can do before you drop your price. And I was trying to think in our items, I can't think of a time that you really drop prices on things.
No, but I will, with a caveat, we don't drop them to the public for the public to see, but we do send out offers where we will lower the price for that individual watcher who is on the item. But actually lowering the price for everybody to see, there's a couple different problems with that. We'll dive into, kind of our thought process on this. But yeah, there's a couple different problems when you're dropping your prices on the items.
So on average, we don't typically drop any of our prices, even if it hasn't sold. So we're going to go through a couple of things that we would do on a listing that might be stagnant or not being seen. The only other thing I would say about lowering the price, sometimes we'll switch the price. So we typically list with an X amount of price with free shipping. We might drop the price and add on shipping to where it actually equals the same amount of money, but to the buyer, it might be more appealing because they might see that, okay, it's this price with shipping. So we do play around with that, but that's pretty much the only thing we would change on a public pricing.
Yeah, but for us, my goal is to price it right the first time, and I'm pricing off of a couple different factors, one of them being what retail is on the item. Now, I'm going to give you an example of an item we just recently sold not that long ago, that steamer. We've talked about it on the podcast. It was that Cleveland steamer, a big commercial like oven steamer, whatever it is. We bought it when we were on vacation. Actually, it wasn't a vacation. We were at a mastermind out of town up in Idaho. Bought that on vacation for $1,000, which is super, super high for us to spend. But on the upswing of that, I looked it up before I bought it for retail, and retail was at between $40,000 and $50,000. So I knew at $1,000, those are pennies compared to what somebody would have to pay if they really wanted this. So we bought that thing for $1,000. We actually sold it for $15,000. I had it listed at $20,000, and somebody reached out to me and said, would you take $15,000 cash? I said, absolutely, I got $1,000 into it. If I can turn, in less than 30 days, if I can turn $1,000 into $14,000 into my pocket, that's what I will do. So they offered us $15,000. We took $15,000 on that sale. I did not lower the price, and it was sitting on for a couple weeks.
30 days, I think.
Yeah, I didn't lower the price. I wouldn't lower the price no matter what, but that's because I looked at a couple different factors. What the retail value is, what is a good sale price on that off of the retail value, and then I also looked off eBay comps. Now for this one, no comps whatsoever. I could not find a comp for an item this new because it was brand new, still on the pallet. I had a couple little dings in it, and that's probably why they got rid of it. But it was brand new on the pallet and never been installed, so I couldn't find any comps other than what new items were listed for. And I don't even know if any of the new items, this exact one was listed on eBay, but I could find them on Google. And so those are a couple different factors that we look when we're pricing our items. We want to see what retail value is. We want to see if there are any sold and active listings on eBay that we're kind of being, we want to make sure we're competitive with what we're doing, but we also don't want to give it away. If somebody's got a lower price, we try to make ours stick out with videos, with descriptions, with pictures. We try to make our items list out, and we have 100% feedback on what we do, which it's another topic for another day, but it's easier for us to keep 100% feedback than a lot of volume sellers because we're not selling thousands and thousands of items in a year. We're only selling maybe 100 items.
100 items.
If that. So it's easier for us to keep our buyers happy with the items that we're selling because we're under-promising and over-delivering on the items that we are selling.
Yeah, so that's one of the first things. One of the things you just mentioned was looking at your item. So checking it and seeing if you have a video added to the listing. So that's doing a whole audit on your listing.
That's the main word. Like Melissa said, audit.
Seeing how it is, because that is probably the biggest thing that can get your item sold better. Because we've done lots of these. We've looked at some of our students. We've reviewed a lot of different accounts, and that typically, like, you can get good pictures, but usually you can get better pictures. So it's just, they don't have to be perfect. Like, we're not looking for perfect, but just good, clean pictures and lots of them. And a video definitely helps too.
And looking at the other active listings to try to make yours stick out more with the good pictures, with the title, with the descriptions, all that stuff come into play. If you want to move your items quicker, you want to be looking at that stuff. But like Melissa said, that's the first thing is the audit. Make sure you're going back. Maybe you took quick pictures on this to get it listed. Yeah. I know a lot of people, a lot of people get items. They want to get them listed immediately. They might not have the best background. You might have been able to see a little bit of clutter, or you didn't get the whole picture. It wasn't bright enough for whatever reason. You can go back and audit the listing before you lower the price of the listing.
Yeah, and then the videos are super important, and especially if it's an item that's higher value. Some items don't need a video, like it's a t-shirt or something, like you don't need a video for those. But if it's something that actually powers on, those are really helpful for buyers to see that the item actually works.
Absolutely.
So then another thing that you can do, we do this sometimes, is promoted listings. So that is where you go in and you do an ad percentage to get your item sold or seen in front of more people.
If we do use the promoted listing tool, the most we do is eBay's minimum. They used to allow 1%. Now it's 2%. You have to do 2%. I don't like to do this. I don't do this a lot, but sometimes I will do it, and I'll do a 2% eBay fee or eBay promotion fee on top of it. I feel like they work a little bit harder to sell the item when you do have the promotion, but at the same time, and I don't know I have no idea how the back ends of eBay work, like what it does and all that stuff. I'm sure eBay can tell you more about that, but I do know some of our items sell without promoted and some of them sell with promoted if I do promoted. So the biggest thing is a lot of our items are expensive. I don't want to pay that 2% on $5,000 if I sell an item for $5,000. So I don't want to pay that if I don't have to. Sometimes if you are going to use promoted, maybe you go in there and do promoted and you up the price a little bit. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I don't know if eBay tells you that that's against the rules. I don't know. But if I was doing it, that's probably, and we have so much profit on our items that I don't really have to worry about that. But if you don't have the profit there, maybe be thinking of ways that you can get it seen by more people but still not lose the money off the promoted listings.
Yeah, and in our experience, I can't say, in our experience that we've seen in the past, promoted listings, not promoting them doesn't make them not go to Google. I think I said that like with a lot of negatives, but like what I'm meaning is, like, I think that they wanted to do promoted listings, gets your stuff pushed out on Google, but we have seen our stuff pushed out on Google without promoted listings. So we go back and forth.
With the caveat of we sell unique items.
Yeah,
so I'm selling an item. If I'm selling a range,
there's not a huge competition for it.
Exactly. I'm selling a range. In the title, I have the title of or the brand name. I have the model of it. There's not going to be a lot of competition for that exact model and range. Typically, brand name and range. So therefore, eBay typically will put it over onto Google after it sits on eBay for a week or two, and you can actually do a Google search, and our listings typically come up with that because there's not a ton of competition. And when you search for individual or specific item, Google wants to have a lot of options for the potential buyer, the potential searcher of whatever they're searching for on Google. So our items, because they're a little more unique, we're not selling a t-shirt, we're not selling a hat that would never ever rank or come up on Google. We're selling these individual items that are pretty unique and pretty cool. to make the high profit that we're selling them for.
Yeah. So instead, if you're going to think about stuff, think about your items. If they're not selling, don't let the first thing, your first instinct to be like, let's drop the price. Let's say, let's go check the listing, see if we can make it better, and then see if you can make your future listings better, which also means you should also be making sure you're listing more, because I know that is a big thing that especially people starting out, you get 10 listings done and then you sit and wait for them to sell. And I think actually is the limit 10
Oh,
in the
5.
beginning?
You said it's 5 now.
5. Okay, so you got to get those ones sold. Once you get that limit increase, then
Just in the beginning.
just in your first few sales, they just want to make sure
If
that
you're new to eBay.
you're not
Scammer.
you're not a scammer, that you're legit, you're going to ship out the items that you sell. So once you get past that first initial 5 to 10 limit, then you can start listing more and get some more stuff listed, and don't just wait for those things to sell. Make sure that you're constantly, that feeds into the eBay algorithm. It likes when you're consistent on eBay, and that will also help your listing sell. And the more inventory you have listed, the more that can sell.
And that's what, inside the group today, when we had that conversation with our members, that was one of the biggest things is I don't typically, if an item doesn't sell immediately, if it doesn't sell on my time frame, I'm not looking to lower the price because I already know that I priced it at the right price. I know I'm giving somebody a great deal off of retail for a good item. I'm not doing that. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at what else I can go get and get it listed. Because it is, the more items that you have out there into the
Your
eBay,
inventory.
the more inventory that you have, the better chances you have of building a normal routine of a check coming in every single week.
Consistently, yeah.
Consistently, especially with our model of the higher profit. We don't list hundreds and thousands of items. We list very few items, but we're hand picking these items. We're finding these items that we can make $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 on a single item. That's what we're looking for. So, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and if you have stuff that's vintage, that's older, that really is hard to find a comp on because it's 20, 30, 40 years old, you can kind of set your own prices, and I would definitely not come down quickly on those. Like, I would leave them, let people reach out to you, collectors, or let people, be interested, and then you can give them an offer, or they can make you an offer for you on their own. But I wouldn't just drop the prices on some of those items, because you've reset comps many times. Like, so you can just put it back up for a price that you think is fair, that somebody might be interested in, and then you can always come down for them individually. So.
Absolutely. Collector's items are really, really cool because you can make some really good money. And you typically, on a collector's item, you can make more than what it actually retail sold for 30 years ago. Which
somebody's buying on nostalgia. They're buying something that they had in the past, or that their family member had in the past, and they want it, and they're probably a little bit older now, and they have the money to pay for it, and they're willing to do that, and that's worth it to them. So,
and eBay's where it's at. eBay is the only place where it's at, other than for people like us that are going to thrift stores, going to flea markets, going and looking estate sales, going and looking in Facebook Market and the local market, and then we're taking it and we're putting it on eBay. So who really wants it, needs it, and will pay the money for it, will be able to find it and get that item.
Well, thanks so much for listening to us today. If you want to learn more about our business model of a little bit lower volume, higher profit flipping, check out our free workshop. We'll put the link in the show notes below. And you guys are awesome.
You're amazing. Have an amazing day, and we'll see you on the next episode.